Hey, this is a how-to tutorial video on creating lesson plans using Google Forms and Google Docs. If you would like this presentation in pay-per-view or in Google Slides, you've got a link right here that you can access that. I'm going to walk you through the process though instead of using that presentation. Okay, to start this, you are going to need to open a Google form. So I'm going to open a new tab in Google. Make sure you're logged in. Right over here on your 9-dot matrix, go to More, and you're going to select Forms. We're going to start with a blank form. We're going to title this Lesson Plans. Okay. You're also going to need a blank document, so I'm going to go ahead and get that started too. So I'm going to open another new tab, 9-dot matrix, and I'm going to open a Google Doc. And we're going to start with a blank one as well. I'm going to title this Lesson with 2 S's, Lesson Plan Template. Okay, these are the two things that you're going to need in order to create the lesson plans. Your actual lesson plans will come out on a separate doc every time that you fill out this form. These are just the two things that you need to create the process. Okay, so here, this is what I want my lesson plans to look like. So I'm going to set this document up in order to show what my lesson plans should look like. I like to put something in my header, so I put my name and maybe the year, and then I could also include what I'm teaching. And then down here, maybe the first thing that I want on my lesson plans would be the title of the lesson. And then I might include the date that I plan to teach that, and the TEKs that we're going to cover in that lesson. And of course your lesson would continue and you'd have a lot more incorporated here, but I'm going to use that for demonstration purposes, just those three. Once I've got that kind of set up, a couple of ideas. You could also have a table here, so if I wanted to do this in a table format, I just insert table right there and set my table up the same way. I want the title first, and then I want the date, and lastly I would like to see the TEKs. If you choose to do a table, you can select to change that font, set it up however you want, and it will read that when we input the information here. So this information we're not going to have to type every time. The idea is that we can go to the Google form, fill out the form. Those answers will fill out our lesson plan. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to create our form. So I'm going to come over here to my form. I've got it set up. I've got it titled. You can change this to look however you want. You've got your color palette there. You can change it to an image. Lots of things that you can do with Google Forms. I'm going to keep this one pretty simple because we're just showing how this works. So I'll just go with, there we go. Just so you can see the change there. First question is already there for you, so I just need to title it. So this is the first thing I want, which was the title. I want the title of my lesson. It's going to automatically change that to short answer text. Some of us are a little more long-winded than that, and we want to change that to a paragraph because sometimes the title is a little longer than what's allowed in the short answer. I'm going to make that required, that way I don't accidentally skip that in my sleep deprived state. I'm going to add another question. You do that by clicking on that plus sign right there. The next question is date. I'm going to change this over to date. Make it required. Okay. I'm going to add one more for this demonstration, and we're going to put our teaks there. Now this one's a little more difficult. I want check boxes because I don't teach just one teak at a time. I teach multiple teaks at a time. And to get those, I need to go somewhere else and create a bulleted list because the form will recognize a bulleted list. I do want that to be required, but I'm going to come right over here. I'm going to open a new tab. I tend to go just to the TEA website. It works pretty well. I can go to academics. Under curriculum standards, select TEACS. Choose what I'm teaching. So I think I titled that reading, so I'm going to go with ELAR there. And then select a grade level. So I'm going to select 4th grade. Okay, and you get the TEACS. This is one of those places where you can set this up how you would like. I'm just going to grab these first 3 just to give you an idea. So I'm going to select those, copy those. You could select all of these if you need all of those, of course, or you could do it in groups. Alright, I want to put that on a different document just so that I can set it up how I want it to look in my form. So I'm going to open another new tab. Right up here I'm going to select Google Docs, and I'm going to get a blank document. Okay, I'm not going to worry about title here. I'm just using this document in order to make these teaks ready for my form. So I'm going to paste there. You see you lose all the indentations here, so I need to make sure that this is set up how I want. If you are okay with it just the way it is, you can leave it the way it is. I chose 4th grade, so I would like to go in there and make these all for 4th and put it that way. So I have 4.1, and then right here I would have 4.2a. Whoops. 4.2a, and right here I'm going to make that all one thing so that I can get that whole thing there. Okay, then I also want to make 4.2b and c, so I'm going to copy that students are expected to and paste right there. And I'm going to change this to 4.2b. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing here for C, and this is just because I'm picky, so if you are okay with the way it looks, you can leave it just like that. But I like to make things look a certain way, so I go through a little bit of work here in order to make it appealing to my eyes. Okay, we've got 4.2D, 4.2E, here's 4.3, which has an A and a B, so I'm just gonna make this one A. Oops, there, I did it again. A. Okay, and then I need to grab that students. Make inferences. Context. Students are expected to. I'm going to copy that so I can have it at the front of this one. Paste. And make this say 4.2b. Or 4.3b, sorry. Okay, so now I've got my teaks set up the way I want. Obviously you would want all of those, and you could set those up if you wanted to, or you could leave them the way they are. Once I do that, I'm going to select all of it, and I'm going to select bulleted list because I need those to be bullet points. Okay. From here, all I need to do is copy and paste. So I'm going to right click, copy, and I'm going to come back to my form. We're going to paste inside of the choices. So right here where it says option 1, I'm going to paste. Okay, and you see it brings those in very nicely. Right here where it's running off, when I'm using this form, I will get to see the whole standard written in a paragraph form. So don't worry about that. If you were going to add some more, you could come back here, copy again, and then you would come to your next option and paste. The forms will accept quite a bit at a time, but it does get overloaded if you try to do too much. So I try to keep it at only a page or two at a time. Okay, we have our form set up. We have a document set up. Now we just need to make the two understand what's going on between each other. So, on this document, this is our template. Remember, this is not your lesson plans. So right here, I need to tell this form where to put answers. So on the document here, I do that by using arrows. So right here, I'm going to put 2 arrows, and I want the title, the answer for that question, to go there. So I'm going to put the name of the question inside of those arrows. Okay, my next one was date, and you can see right here the question is titled date. Another choice here is I can copy and paste that. You have to be careful and make sure that this is exactly the way that it is in the form, or it won't read it correctly. Okay, and the last one that we have for this demonstration is teaks, so I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to put that right there. Okay, I could do the same thing in the table, so I could use that same formatting there in the table, and I put that in there, and put that one there, and I'm going to put that in there. Okay, I want this to be my different font just so you can see that, so I'm going to go ahead and make that other font. Okay, if you want to set this up with multiple days or multiple subjects, you can do that. Just make sure that you have separate questions that go with each spot that you need filled in. So if you are going to teach 2 different lessons, you would need a title for lesson 1 and a title for lesson 2. That would have to also include a question that said title for lesson 1 and title for lesson 2. Okay, a couple of other ideas here. You can use the sections in forms to create different sections to separate this out. Your teaks are going to be a really long question, and if you don't want to scroll through all of that, you can use that sections, and it breaks the form apart, and so that you have parts when you're filling that out. And you've also got the option to duplicate using those. And so if you created a section, I'm going to select the title here and create a section. Okay, and so let's say that this was Monday. Okay, then right here I would want Monday's title, Monday's date, Monday's teaks, and then when I got ready to fill in Tuesday, if I wanted to do an entire week, I could come right here and duplicate the entire section and then change all of those to Tuesday. I can also just duplicate a question. So if I want this question again, I've got the duplicate option right there. Okay, so now we just need to link the two. So they're both set up and ready to go. You need Form Publisher, and that is an add-on in order to link the two. If you already have it, it will be showing right here a puzzle piece. When you click that, you will see Form Publisher. If you do not have that add-on, you go to your 3 dots, go to Add-ons, and this is Form Publisher right here. When you click on that, it's going to say free right here. You're going to click that, it's going to ask which account. Select your Google account. Then it's going to ask you to allow for it to work, and you hit allow, and then it will say got it right up here with a little paragraph, and you just hit got it. Okay, when you do that, you will get the same thing as when I just said get started using the add-on. You'll get this box right down here. Okay, make sure you're in your form when you do that. Now next I want to select I have my own template, because if we select one of these, it's going to create a template for us. We want to use what we've created, so I'm going to select I have my own template. This opens my drive. Here I can find the template that I've been working on, which is this one right here. I'm going to hit select. This validates that everything in my form matches my template. If I had accidentally put a space here, I've got a refresh button, and you'll see that it will show me that there's some problems there. It tells you what question is not matching. So I'm going to come right back here and fix that so that that's exact. I'm going to refresh again. I like to see that all of mine are matching. And then I hit next. Okay, in this next section it is going to let me choose where my lesson plans go. So it will create a folder called Form Publisher Output Folder, or I can hit that pencil and I can come to my drive and I can select my own folder for these to go to. So I have a folder called Examples. That is not mine. Let me see which one I want. Example. It does pull up every folder you have access to, so there will be a lot of choices there. Let's see. This would be my folder, so that's the one I'm going to select. Okay, that's where I want that to go. And then right here is where I can select the date, or the title, I'm sorry. So if I want this to be titled the same thing that I answer here in the title question, I'm just going to choose that question, copy, and I'm going to change this to that. Okay, if I left that as template title, then my lesson plan template document is what everything would be titled. So I would get a lesson plan called Lesson Plan Template 1, Lesson Plan Template 2, Lesson Plan Template 3, which is not very helpful when you're trying to find your lesson plans. Right here, I'm going to go ahead and include my date, so I'm going to select that and copy it, and I'm going to change increment to date. That way when I get my lesson plans, I have the title and the date. Alright, next on there, and you've got two things you want to fix here. First of all, I don't want it to notify anybody when I submit my lesson plan, so I'm going to unselect that. And I also do not want an email every time, so right here I'm going to change this to don't send email. That way I don't get an email every time I do this. After you've got all that, you're done. And it is time to try it. So this is what happens when you created those sections. It gives you that next button. Okay, the title of this lesson might be Reading Fluency. The date, the 29th, and I can select the standards that I'm covering. I hit submit, and you see you do not get anything back from that. Okay, remember you told this form to send your lesson plan to that folder, so I need to come back to my drive. So in my drive, that examples folder for me is this one it? I don't think so. No, it is in my lesson plan folder, and there's my examples there. Perfect, there's my lesson plan, Reading Fluency. August the 29th. And you see how it has filled in everything I selected into those areas. And this is my lesson plan that I can now share with somebody. Or I can print if you need a paper copy. Or if you have a folder set up, you can share that folder with somebody's, like your principal or administration, in order to submit your lesson plans, or another teacher that you might also share lesson plans with. Okay, so that is how you can create your lesson plans using Google Forms and Google Docs. Just a couple of tricks here, which I just exited out, and I did not need to do that yet. When you get ready, you will open your form just like I did, and you will select that eyeball for the preview button, and that's how you will fill out your lesson plans. If something is not copying or is not working for you when you check that, you want to copy and paste with those questions. You can come back and edit at any time. Right here, when you access Form Publisher again, it looks a little different, but this breaks it down. So if I select Template, here's where I can check that all my questions match and that it's reading the template that I set up. I can also select the destination, the title of the lesson plans, and the sharing and notifications there. Okay. I hope this is helpful and beneficial to you. Please leave some feedback and let me know how your lesson plans turned out and if you like this process. Thank you.